Legend of Vox Machina by Critical Role absolutely blew me away completely. If you ever wanted to see a masterclass in how to launch a new series, look no further. So I just finished watching season 1 of The Legend of Vox Machina, and I went into the show with zero expectations. I didn't have any idea the show was even coming out. In many ways, I'm glad about having no preconceptions or expectations, because it allowed me to go into the show completely blind. At first, the animation style of Vox Machina threw me off. It has a lot of depth to it, and I did not know how to feel about it at the start of the show. However, once I settled down and adjusted to the show, the more I began to appreciate the animation and colour palette because of the versatility the animation style affords. The animation allows Critical Role to tell a fantastically bright yet dark story in a fantasy world setting. In such a setting, you need to be able to contrast between the various forces of light and darkness in order to create the mood and atmosphere. Something they managed to do fantastically well, by the way. What makes the show so great is the chemistry of the main characters and cast. They have such a connection to each other, and their unique differences complement one another. On their own, they might be a dysfunctional bunch of misfits in the nicest possible sense, but together, they can overcome just about anything. The characters are in no way one-dimensional. They are well fleshed out and feel real. Throughout the show, you learn more about each of them and you see them grow. The story. The Legend of Vox Machina is the story of a group of companions that set out to make a name for themselves and earn some coin as mercenaries. But opportunities come too few and far, and the lack of funds bars them from, well, most bars. I mean taverns. But through sheer luck, Scanlan, a gnome bard, sees a notice that requests help to defend the realm from a powerful force. Upon succeeding, they become protectors of the realm, tasked with tackling situations far beyond that of the realm's common soldiers. The characters. So normally I don't do this, however I wanted to talk about each of the characters a little bit and show you what they look like, simply because their designs fit their personalities so well. I've not seen such well-developed characters in a long time. So, starting off with Percival de Rollo, also known as Percy. Percy, played by Scanlan Is, I hope I pronounced that right, is a very well-spoken and caring person when it comes to his friends and saving people. Highly educated, sophisticated, and sometimes a little too uptight. However, Percy has a temper. He always has a great knowledge of etiquette, but has a hard time being around the aristocracy for reasons that become apparent as the show progresses. Percy's biggest problem is he cares too much about what his friends think about him, and what others think about him, and how he is perceived, to the point where he bottles everything up until it becomes too much to hold in. Percy's story is very much the heart of the series, and seeing him progress to be more as he grows is a very compelling story-wise. He's understandable and relatable. Percy relies on firearms for his combat, taking a more inventive approach. Obviously, this has its limitations with regards to application, i.e. bullets are not exactly effective against magic barriers, right? Overall, though, Percy is a strong character who has been jaded by past experiences, something he faces, something many of us can probably relate to. Moving on to the second character of the Vox Machina group, which is Pike Trickfoot. Pike, played by Ashley Johnson, is a gnome cleric that wields light magic to both defend her allies and attack her foes, as well as the power to heal. Pike may be small in stature, but she is one of the most powerful members of Vox Machina. Pike is my favourite character. She has so much fight and spirit. She is the heart of the team. She literally picks people up when they are down and never backs down from a fight. It is not just the powers that make her so integral to the group. It is Pike's ability to rally her allies. I think this is in large part because the team knows that Pike will do everything she can, even going as far as throwing herself into danger to protect them. With that trust comes a strong bond of friendship, which is most notable with Grog. You can see the trust and respect and friendship between them. When Pike is around, the team feels they can do anything. Ashley Johnson's performance as Pike is absolutely superb. Do not mistake me, the cast in the show is fantastic, but as Pike, she is so fitting and has the natural demeanour of a gnome cleric. Gentle, caring, even funny, but also that inner strength and positivity. Grog Strongjaw, the third of the group. Grog is a Goliath warrior barbarian fighter, played by Travis Willingham. Grog pretty much has two sides. He's the simplest of the Vox Machina members in the best possible way. On the one hand, he is a warrior barbarian that relishes a challenge and opportunity to test his strength against worthy foes. But outside of the battles, with his friends, he is soft and warm and a protector. You can see Grog's true nature come out most with Pike. She connects to him in a way others cannot. I honestly think Grog would do anything to protect her, even if it meant sacrificing himself. That is how much of a protector Grog is. I used to be in a clan for World of Tanks. I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but the clan's motto was first in, last out. Not from the clan, but from the battles we fought, and that is Grog in many ways. He may rush into a battle, but he will fight his heart out to be the last one standing. There's not much more else to say about Grog, except he's a big teddy bear you just want to hug. Because while he might seem scary or mean, his heart is just full of kindness, love, and friendship for his group. Moving on to the fourth member, and maybe the rudest of them all, which is Scanlan Shortholt. Scanlan is a perverted gnome bard played by Sam Riegel. And I know that sounds absolutely terrible, but Scanlan is hilarious and brings so much comedic effect to the group. After all, he's a bard, and if a bard cannot boost people's morale, honestly, what hope does anyone else have? So if you may have guessed, Scanlan's power comes from music that he uses to create magical effects. He is not some simple buffer like you might have seen in MMOs you have played. Scanlan can create a giant magic fist that can knock your socks off. But it's not just about raw power. Given correct conditions, Scanlan can even help buff healing salves, offer protection, and more. As I said, Scanlan is the jokester. While he can be vulgar or lewd, even to the point where even the Vox Machina gang cuff him around the head, Scanlan never means anything in a negative way. In fact, a lot of his humour seems to come from a place of insecurity. He's confident and bold, yes, but often it feels like a lot of the levity is to cover his true feelings. Without Scanlan, the group would be so different. I think he's the one person every good group of friends needs, that even with their worst jokes or banter, you might wince or grimace, but you cannot help but smile inside. Moving on to the fifth member, and that is Keyleth. Keyleth is a half-elf druid played by Marisha Ray. Her power lies in nature magic. Specifically, her most potent ability seems to be the manipulation of plants and trees. However, she has been seen to manipulate ice magic. The gift is quite powerful, not on the level of Pike's magic or the adaptability of Scanlan's bard abilities, but in terms of attack and defense, Keyleth's raw strength is formidable. Keyleth is kind and nurturing, but lacks a lot of self-confidence despite her immense abilities. She often doubts herself, but as Vox Machina evolves, she also evolves, finding courage that she thought she was lacking, and the inner strength she did not know that she had. By no means is Keyleth weak, far from it, but her self-doubt holds back her true power at the start. Seeing Keyleth accept herself is one of the best parts of the show. We all have that voice inside our heads that makes us doubt what we are doing, makes us wonder if we are good enough, or if people care. Fighting past that and seeing our accomplishments is something we can relate to. That moment where you realise you can do this. Vaxildan and Vexelia. Vax, played by Liam O'Brien, and Vex, played by Laura Bailey, are half-elf rogues. They are brother and sister, so they have a strong personal connection, as well as great combat chemistry. Vax is a druid and paladin that mainly fights with daggers, while Vex is a ranger that relies on her bowmanship. The pair are about as close as a brother and sister can be, though Vax's actions often make Vex sigh with exasperation. Together, the two are the de facto core leaders of the group. They seem to be the ones that drive the others towards new quests, set goals, etc. Everyone has input, but when it comes to direction, they are often the ones to nudge the others. Strong, dependable, smart, they can both gather information or change the outcome of a fight, whether through their combat skills or misdirection. Both have a strong aptitude for strategy. Their story is complex in the first season due to the events that unfold, but what never wavers is their familial bond and trust for one another. There seems to be a commitment that no matter how impossible the situation becomes, they will face it together, united in strength. So, the conclusion. The Legend of Vox Machina is a fantastic show. The first season really came out swinging. Many shows fail to gain momentum or feels unpolished. This is not the case here. Critical Role should be very proud of the world, characters and show they have created. The creators are the talent in this production, playing many of the characters themselves. The passion and drive that I have shines through, and you can truly see that the characters are in part a reflection of themselves. Only through that kind of connection to your creation can you create a nearly flawless series like this one. 9 out of 10 craft reviews. I look forward to seeing the future of Vox Machina and Critical Role. They could be onto something very special if they keep producing this standard of content.